Is it open season on women? How to keep yourself safe in the season of the incel. Hi, it's the Urban Lady Prepper. Right now, there is a viral video by an, unfortunately, well known podcaster where he's screaming with glee, saying that when it comes to women, it's their body, his choice, and that the men have won, men win again. The first part of the title of this podcast is It Open Season on Women? I'm sure your immediate reaction was, when isn't it? It always has been. Recent events shows us that angry men are willing to do whatever it takes to ensure that women remain as dependent and frightened as possible. I've mentioned in previous podcasts why women are hashtag Team Bear and Men with Mics, the new He-Man Women Haters Club, about how men, especially middling men, have become increasingly frustrated with the freedom and independence of the modern woman. You would think that as human beings, you would want a partnership as you navigate an increasingly difficult future. But as with anything else, and as this week has shown, it's all about power. The need for power supersedes anything else that makes sense. And unfortunately, right now, a lot of these middling men, a lot of these men who don't have the character, personality, looks, just about anything of value really, wants to possess a woman because they want entitlement to be all that's required, because they don't have what it takes to get one by being a decent human being. They feel particularly empowered right now, and they're not being silent about it. They're very pleased with the idea that women will lose additional rights and are already taunting women and girls about being property. The only thing worse than a pathetic male whose testicles have barely dropped getting in a young woman's face and telling her that it's her body but his choice is that some of the more violent ones are talking about forming rape squads. Rape squads. I wish I was joking. I'm not. It's not a joke. To some of you, and to many men, that might sound ridiculous. But with women in the US being physically assaulted by a man every 9 seconds, we already know that as women, we're more apt to be attacked way too often. For women who have opted out of dating, men are upset, saying, well, then, who will protect you? And many of us have answered that if men weren't so terrible to us, we wouldn't need to be protected. Who are they protecting us from? Other men. And then, when there's the whole man versus bear thing, where most of us said we'd take the bear, that was a problem too. So if we're having a hard time getting through to them now, telling them that we're under more threats of physical attack, and that middling men, especially these incels, which for those of you who don't know what that means, it's short for involuntarily celibate, you can imagine how they would feel our concerns are out of bounds, or that this threat will abate over time. Well, I believe that we're going to be less safe than we've ever been. Of course, there's always going to be supportive men who are secure enough in themselves not to feel threatened by a woman's success or autonomy and would never dream of harming a woman in any way. However, the squeakiest wheels always get the most attention. And right now, these women haters, these mice of men, are squeaking very loudly and are very excited because they feel that now they can finally get a woman that normally wouldn't look twice at them. These incels cannot accept that just as they have preferences and are very vocal about their preferences when they demean women online and when they're crass to us in the street, women, according to them, should not have a preference. We need to be stoked with whatever man wants to scoop us up and carry us off. They want to turn the clock back on women, with the 1950s being a kind of golden age of patriarchal life. The difference between the 1950s and now is that back then, women got married because they didn't have a choice. It gave security they couldn't obtain on their own. Women were barely in the workforce, so they didn't have income, didn't have any outside skills, couldn't get credit, couldn't purchase a house on their own, and had no legal recourse if their husbands were abusive. She could not divorce him, regardless of how cruel he may have been. Of course, today, that's not an issue. As the old slogan says, you've come a long way, baby. We have. We can get the education that gets us a job in any field we want. We may still make less doing the same job, but we still make enough and have created or have been hired into a position where we're making enough money to buy homes, invest, and ensure futures that don't require a husband to finance it. While some men are tolerant of this progress, many men aren't because it doesn't guarantee them a woman anymore. In the past, a man with very little to offer knew he could get himself a wife without much effort. But these days, the mindset of women is different. We understand that very many of our mothers, grandmothers, and great grandmothers were not in the happy relationship that society tries to paint. Many of those women were miserable, but they didn't have a choice. Once women started to gain more financial independence and freedom to make their own decisions, men realized that many women wouldn't want to be with them and didn't have to. You can't entirely blame men for this because they were just encouraged to be manly men, and however they turned out, the woman would just have to deal with it. Those men weren't encouraged to be versed in how to take care of their own basic needs. That was what a woman was for. All he had to do was make money. He didn't have to work on himself in any meaningful way. He didn't have to be but so intelligent unless he wanted to be. He didn't have to be emotionally supportive. He didn't have to be kind if he didn't want to be. Emotional intelligence was something that was not instilled or required. As women progressed, we realized that we could do the work externally and internally. Had men done the same work and realized that in a modern environment, especially financially, having a woman as a partner and not property would lead to an overall better existence, we wouldn't be where we are now. But, ironically, patriarchy is a bitch. So these angry men had sons. It's clear these men learned nothing, and it's also clear that they didn't teach the boys anything. You also have some boy moms who, by not encouraging them to be more self-sufficient in the most basic things such as cooking, staying clean, and doing basic chores, have them grow up having that expectation of every woman. Emotionally undeveloped women with sons idolize those sons and villainize girlfriends and ensure that a woman who doesn't live up to her Holly homemaker image, that girl isn't good enough, that she's a common whore. The fathers agree, and the boys see. Now these men are of voting age, going to college, and still not learning anything. The only thing they understand is their father's frustration with having a wife who won't give him sex on demand, who's exhausted and argues, that wants more than the man can provide on perhaps a few levels. These men are often divorced, had contentious custody battles, and have passed the hatred of his ex-wife or ex-girlfriend onto their sons. If the man was abusive, the son has learned this as well. If that man has a daughter, this is what she sees as love. So when she grows up, she doesn't feel that she can do better than someone like her abusive middling father. She can get past the trauma and form healthy romantic relationships if she's lucky. But the men who don't realize that their very behaviors and attitudes chase women away are pursuing women who know better than to end up with a man like them. These men will not make themselves better men because that's too much work. Instead, they long for the days when a woman was vulnerable, scared, and didn't have options. When all he had to do was have a job. He didn't have to worry about the kids, he didn't have to worry about house chores, and he could do or say whatever he wanted unchallenged. You would think these men would seek out women who want that traditional wife role, but that's not enough for them. Those women are out there, but these incels, these insecure, angry men with low-paying jobs who know they can't afford to be that 50s male role model, choose to troll and threaten the women that would never choose them, and that's dangerous. And as soon as the election was over, they were showing that they were excited to exert dominance and threaten violence. For women, a man threatening violence against them is just Tuesday. But when you combine the incel mentality, those who are emboldened by what they feel is their season, it makes things worse for us women from a personal safety standpoint. And if you have daughters, you have to be terrified because the problem with a lot of these incels, especially the older ones, is that they're very open about their preference for younger, even underage, girls. I would think that sex trafficking would probably increase, which is hard to fathom because it's a raging epidemic now. There's so much to worry about. Now, I don't doubt for a minute that men, regardless of how awesome or awful they may be, would not tolerate their daughters, wives, and mothers being harassed, bullied, and attacked. They would take the stances and actions necessary to protect the women in their lives they care about. But I can't help but wonder, had they been better fathers, had they listened to women when we talked about how other men treat us and what was done to us by other men, will we have this epidemic of angry, entitled men now? While I don't attribute this to every man, it's an example of showing up to the dance after the band left the stage. The incel that you're willing to fight is the result of a society that let him know that rape culture was okay, and men have to assume responsibility for that. Men don't get extra points for doing what they should do anyway, and as a result of their action or inaction in the past when raising their sons. Even worse, should their daughter or wife be attacked and become pregnant, he now finds himself in a position where he, as a man, has no choice. So, what can we do as women? Well, your mind is always your best weapon. Situational awareness will be more important than ever. Feel free to check out my earlier episodes, Beyond Your Door, Practical Strategies for Everyday Safety, for valuable information on this topic. However, more than situational awareness may be needed. We also need to have the courage to help, protect, and defend each other. I realize that post-election, feelings are still raw, and we have unprecedented trust issues with each other. And while we may never overcome them, we should try to do so for the sake of our daughters. If we can't, at the very least, protect each other, then that toad of a podcaster will be right. Men will win again. And whether some of you want to accept it or not, you are part of the marginalized community, and it won't get better for you. You already know privilege doesn't protect you from violence. So begin to think of yourself as a second-class citizen who needs to open her eyes. To do otherwise is to make yourself and your daughters less aware and more vulnerable. To go beyond situational awareness and looking out for each other, we single women and single moms increasingly view self-defense as an essential skill for our well-being. The significance of self-defense for women is immense, with various techniques and approaches, from martial arts to firearms training to using everyday items around the house for protection. Embracing self-defense provides new skills and offers a tangible sense of empowerment. It equips women with the confidence to handle various situations with ease and assurance. I would like to share some of the available self-defense modalities. While tailored for urban lady preppers, these tips are helpful for anyone in every environment who seeks to enhance her situational awareness and be her own best protector. Whether you're a single mom juggling multiple responsibilities or a single woman seeking peace of mind, understanding these self-defense options is crucial to enhancing personal safety and embracing a more secure life. The concept of self-defense may seem intimidating, but not every method involves physical training and classes. In addition to formal training, single women can utilize everyday items they might carry or have in their homes to enhance their personal safety strategies. These common objects, often overlooked, can be effective tools in protecting oneself. Keys. Held between the fingers, keys can act as an improvised weapon. A quick jab can deter an attacker, providing critical opportunity to escape. A pen. A sturdy pen can be used similarly to a tactical knife. Its hard point can serve as a reliable defensive tool when aimed at vulnerable areas. Your purse or bag. A weighted purse or bag can be swung to create distance from a potential threat. The momentum can surprise an attacker and allow you to escape. An umbrella. An umbrella can be wielded like a baton. It can be used to push away or strike an approaching aggressor. A personal alarm. Carrying a loud personal alarm can draw attention and potentially scare off an attacker. The noise serves as a cry for help and alerts others nearby. A flashlight. A small handheld flashlight can disorient an attacker when shown directly in the eyes. Small ones can be attached to a keychain, and large ones can be used for striking. An elongated weapon, such as a bat or large stick, can easily be kept by a door or bedside and could come in handy for keeping someone at a distance. Here's a tip though. If using a bat, put a sock on it. If the bat is grabbed, the sock will come off, providing an additional opportunity to reset and strike. There's always the possibility that any weapon used can be turned against you, so it's crucial that if you decide to protect yourself, you give 100%, as any hesitation gives an attacker an advantage. Creating space between you and an attacker is essential. You want as much of that as possible, regardless of how you choose to defend yourself. Martial arts provide a powerful means for single women and single moms to build strength and self confidence. Martial arts are about defense and building a foundation of inner strength, determination, and confidence. Disciplines like karate, judo, and jiu-jitsu enhance physical fitness and sharpen situational awareness. There are also more physical and aggressive martial arts, such as kickboxing and Krav Maga. Research the type that best fits your fitness level, personal philosophy, and the level of commitment required. Martial arts classes can foster a supportive community, encouraging camaraderie among peers regardless of location. The discipline, focus, and mental endurance gained translates into other areas in life, promoting resilience and perseverance. Many women finding progressing through martial arts belts life-changing, equipping them with the mindset to handle challenges inside and outside training environments. Now let's discuss firearms. While gun ownership can be controversial, it's not an attribute of any particular group. People from all walks of life and backgrounds are gun owners, and more women than ever are considering firearms as part of their personal safety plan. Firearms training introduces a distinct dimension to women's self defense strategies, placing a pronounced emphasis on safety and skill development. For single moms and single women, acquiring the knowledge to handle and operate a firearm responsibly can significantly bolster personal safety and readiness. Firearm courses typically cover crucial aspects such as secure firearm storage, accurate shooting techniques, legal responsibilities, and situational control, all of which are essential for responsible firearm ownership and operation. You would be advised of the laws in your state, any fees involved, and whether concealed carry is allowed. It's vitally important to ensure that the training is comprehensive, organized, and conducted by certified professionals to maximize safety and effectiveness. Mastering firearm skills enhances self protection and cultivates a profound sense of empowerment and active control over one's immediate environment. While the prospect of firearms training might initially appear daunting, many find it immensely empowering as you gain confidence and proficiency. This training can become vital to urban prepping strategies, offering peace of mind in potentially uncertain situations and reinforcing one's preparedness for various scenarios. If the idea of carrying a gun at all times is not an option for you, you can seek training for home protection exclusively, such as learning to operate a shotgun or rifle, which are common household weapons and generally legal across the board. Double check, though, with your state and county to see if there's limitations regarding the type of home protection allowed so you're within legal guidelines. Whatever self defense option you choose, what's great is that you can do it with your kids. It can be especially empowering for your daughters and create an excellent bonding experience. Having a skill set that keeps you and them aware and safe gives you more peace of mind. I do intend to bring on professionals in these different areas in order to provide as much information and insight as possible. By exploring various avenues of self defense, such as using everyday items, martial arts, and firearms training, we ladies can enhance our personal safety and gain confidence in our ability to protect ourselves. Each method presents unique benefits, whether it's the immediacy of using common objects, the discipline and community of martial arts, or the responsibility and skill acquired through firearms training. Ultimately, embracing self defense is about more than just physical protection. It's about fostering a sense of security, empowerment, and readiness in everyday life. By integrating these strategies, we ladies can take charge of our safety, ensuring peace of mind for ourselves and our loved ones. And these days, more than ever, we need to take advantage of every option available to us to ensure safety before someone takes advantage of us. Stay safe out there. Until next time, this is the Urban Lady Prepper signing off. I hope that I've given you some things to think about as you go through the upcoming week. I upload a new podcast every Saturday evening, U.S. Eastern Standard Time. Visit my website, urbanladyprepper.com, where I post a new blog every Wednesday and Friday. While there, sign up for my weekly newsletter, which contains information that usually isn't on the podcast or website, and share your support with a donation or buy some Urban Lady Prepper gear. It helps me continue to grow and provide even more content. Join me on the socials. I look forward to hearing from you. Ladies, stay safe, stay sharp, and be ready. You can